1. Now I have an explanation. I will use some video clips for clarification. I will describe to you what is the status of the victim of choice. As I said, that the first thing that will happen to her is the entry of an evil person in her body. This will pretend to be the Holy Spirit or guardian angel. Of course, her way to enter this is through slides. Mind control, which will be implanted on the victim without her knowledge, and after this a position for her will be written in order for him to sit on this demon who entered her body, so that as if he made her become he or will make himself a guard for her or something attached to everything. Also, as the one who sits on the position assigned to her by the gang is that he leads everything, but he claims that all he does is orders from the victim, who also claims to be working in the unseen. For example, he gives orders he wants when the victim is eating, for example, drinking or taking something or money or doing very normal things, etc. However, this spy guard will play alone and interpret these actions to orders as he will. He records all who are around the victim, for example, his family or friends, and he is the one who leads them. But as I said, he will lie and claim that all of these orders are issued to him by the victim because he takes care of distributing these orders. Will of course deceive others and says that the victim knows his presence while she does not know anything about him. He is taking advantage. Of course, this only felt first stage.
Hey! Hey!
I thought you were dead.
A couple of seconds I would have been.
All I remember is stepping out of the van, then I woke up in the fucking gutter.
What the hell are you doing here?
What are you talking about? I've been looking for you all night. What the hell happened to you? Hey!
I can trust you.
All right, look. I don't know how much you had to drink, okay? But let's not point the gun at me.
I just need to know
You need to know what?
that you are you.
Of course I'm me. What the hell are you talking about?
You took his body.
All right. You're ill, okay? You need some help, all right? Ah, fuck! Jesus!
You're bleeding.
Of course I'm bleeding. You fucking shot me.
I just needed to find out.
Well, you found out, okay?
Stop being such a pussy.
Pussy, come on.
It's just a scratch.
2. Now we come to the second stage, which is the phase of eliminating the victim of choice. And this is something that is very well known, and the gang is doing it with each victim of choice. God is totally in this is when the gang expels her. You may think that she made a mistake or upset her faith. Instead of knowing the truth, she will still walk on the rope and think that this will work, but she does not know that it is a fixed scenario that the gang is doing with every victim of choice everywhere, not only she. Those who deceived her with such lies that the gang signed it. What is important is that the second stage will be a very despicable game, which is that the gang will say that God gave orders to give half of the organization or the post to another person, who is the homosexual security agent or the so-called young, etc. And this, which took half, will begin to attack the victim in order to take the remaining half of her here. Note the game that a group of gang will attack the victim with everything, and they have a reason that they are in a rival state with the victim, because they have a position here. The game has a lot of complexity because this guard spy is the one who sits on the position and not the victim at all. It is a beneficiary from him, and he who has followers who leads them, he and not the victim at all. Also all the money and property in his hand only, and he does not take any orders from the victim at all, but he considers it only a body or donkey he has, but he only lies here. The position of the victim will be very difficult and not enviable at all, as it will be like a person enters a horse race and does not have a horse, or his gun battle but he does not have 3. Any weapon, but this is the truth, but the lies and forgery that distort the truth will make the victim a person who has half and has followers and funds and everything, and this war is considered equal between two parties, but the truth is not at all, because the fact that this half and the funds and followers have no authority over them, you cannot give any orders to them, nor can you take anything. It is like a person left behind by an army, but it is on its own because this guard or angel is the one who leads everything, and this is only one of the elements of this gang. This only had a role, and it is repeated with every victim of choice and with the same details totally from one enemy. You will become 2 or a guardian thief who visited her position and sits on him and not her, and does not take any orders from her or any word, and plays alone on whatever he wants but takes advantage of her name. And secondly, the gangs of homosexual security agents who will continue to attack the victim with everything. For example, weapons for mind control, and will use waves manipulation of the brain, as well as all kinds of evil, defamation and harm against it, and killing also. And this terrorist has an argument in which he says he competes with her for a position and hides the truth that he is attacking only a victim. He knows that all this is just a play they do with every victim he and this fellow guard a spy.
I've relieved Colonel Perry of his command.
GR-13, this mission has been canceled. I order you back to the cooling chamber. Now!
Orders? I'm giving the orders from now on. Orders? I'm giving the orders from now on.
4. Here, I have a question for you, and he is one of the most dangerous to the victim. Is this the guard, the thief, who took advantage of the victim's body and her name and sat on a position that lets him and not her, and she does not know him at all, and he plays with her and throws her scales, or made them like a horse and carrot, or plays with her as a game delusion, for example, internet games, or dreams of a woman, or gains that you will not get no matter what she ran behind? Is this the most dangerous for her, or the gang that will come to her in the second stage that God gave her half the position, and this gang will launch an attack without stopping the victim under the pretext that they are competing with her for a position and money she has here? What will you do? Is the victim relinquishing a position that has no knowledge of him or his authority over him, or giving him, or remains defending a thief, a spy guard sitting on this position, or facing the gang that is attacking, or facing the two means I will double the war against it? I mean, will you understand any language other than language terrorism and gangs, and forget about this guard? The thief who exploits our body and visits positions he sits on and plays alone means the victim is like a person who has been dumping garbage on his head despite his nose, and he cannot get rid of them, and then the flies will follow him wherever he goes, and this follows the waste and not the person himself. Here on the person that my state disposes from flies only, because whenever he get rid of a total of another group came because of this putrid waste stuck by one of this brings flies, which do not work with any she, and only harm comes only once they are completely compatible with flies, but are related to them, and they with.
أريد منك أن تبقيني هكذا بعد قليلا.
لا، أنا وفيت بوعدي لك. انزل حالا من على كتفي.
أنت لطيف فعلا. قل ما اسمك يا ولد؟
سندباد، انزل فورا عن ظهري.
اصمد يا ولد.
لست أرجوك.
هيا اصمد.
حسنا حسنا حسنا، سأمشي. فهمت. أنت سعيد لأني أحملك على كتفي، ولكن إلى أي مسافة تريد أن أحملك؟ أريد أن أطرح سؤالا. أتعرف من هو هذا الرجل العجوز؟ أرجوك.
رجل عجوز؟ يا إلهي!
ما الذي أرعبه هكذا؟
لا أعرف، ربما شاهد حلما مخيفا.
هكذا أفضل. أقدر أن أهرب وهو نائم. كم صرت أكره هذا الرجل. الوداع، عليك أن تمشي بنفسك.
ولد أحمق يظن أنه قادر أن يهرب مني.
كيف يمكن عجوزا مثله؟
أنا أذهب الآن.
نعم. ما هذا الرجل العجوز؟ كيف يعاملني هذه المعاملة؟ سندباد! جسمينة! خذها لي أنت! سندباد، أوقعت نفسك بيد هذا العجوز اللعين!
لماذا تصر يا ولد أن تموت باكرا؟
جسمينة! يا حقير، اتركني وجاني، قلت لك!
111. The same topic brought back to him is a description of gangs of mind control who made themselves organize that they are something wrong, but they are the same error, and circumstances of error made them remain or appear to be really the worst nightmare that can be thought of anything. Also, they look like an evil person who has money and influence and will bring everyone together, an evil one like him and a thief. And after that he made a gang that he leads and made himself a prophet for them. This gang is something that has no principles or any religion, but God is the last thing they can use his name. But they did this. They are something that does not know the truth at all. Everything is evil on evil and lies plus the lie of the thing. The only thing that makes me cut off is that I am just a simple person inside a rock with no authority in my hand. I do not follow, not even a weapon I own. I live in a country ruled by this gang, but not openly for years, and to them, but without any benefit. Thousands of attempts fail, one with the aim of the other, and these children of evil dancing joy over my head because they spied on him through the mind control and everything in their hands. All communication networks made, all including cells they have, or according to what they say about them. They are also the internet, and everything in it is for them. For example, Facebook, which when I open a page in it, as if I were talking to them completely, and the same thing in the rest of the internet and email. And in this way they keep their secret and continue to hunt people and kill them with their mind control weapons. I know, I am talking about Iraq only. They spoiled everything good by their presence in it. The appearance of such a carcass in Iraq was a fatal mistake, especially with its huge technology and financial capabilities. Of course, they struck France and Belgium, and I at the time showered the United Nations and all relevant authorities with rain from the reports. Unfortunately, maybe not.
I look over at the mirror over here. I don't want to be you. Don't be that way.
22. Did not pray because I am inside a bubble and my voice has been completely blocked, so that whatever I am inside Iraq, I am inside a magnetic barrier that prevents my voice, or there is someone who takes from me and falsifies what I say in order to make it according to what he wants, and by this he protects this gang that is too long to be wrong in Iraq only, and as Satan is trying to stay by any means. Of course, this is their leader. As I said, he is a terrorist and has a gang, and he has appointed his followers and everyone who was inside Iraq as if they were robbers distributed over the region, and each one reserved the area from which he is stolen, but rather made it his own thing, or he called himself in the name of the region. For example, the thief, which is in the area where I live, making up your pardon, and he is one of the members of this gang. This calls himself in the name of this judiciary while he is a thief and has a gang inside this court. This is responsible for all the harm here. The game is similar to that. There is a family in it, a harmful person, but his family does not do anything to him as he refuses to be held accountable, and whenever I report it, they claim that they hold him accountable, but they do not do anything, as if someone was appointed by God in this position as a thief. Here are the measures that must be against all this family, even those who claim that they did not do anything, because they are the ones who fail any attempt when they refuse to enter any party and make themselves are the same, and so their leader is the head of evil. He looked like a servant of Aladdin's lamp, or a prostitute woman whenever he went to a place where she gave birth to a child and left him, where he laughs at himself when he claims that he is not responsible for what his branches do, or makes himself the agent of God who follows the Holy Spirit, which according to the game entered into one of the victims of the poor, and this devil it remains to follow this victim, and whenever he lived in a place inside Iraq he went and called a branch. 33. The gang in it, and made him the leader of all the branches of the gang inside Iraq, on the pretext that the Holy Spirit was the one who chose for him this dirty game that he wants to escape with. Of course, this gang is an intelligence network that was affiliated with the previous regime in Iraq, and this demon is an intelligence officer only and not a person with a relationship by religion. Absolutely. Of course, he is the one who distributed his gang members to the regions of Iraq. Of course, he is a victim of choice over which the slices are planted. There is nothing in her hand, but something that they laugh at. Only all of these gang branches, whether it is the branch of Efik district or Baghdad or his patronage or Nasserists or others, are all the same. There is absolutely no difference between them. They are one network and one law and one record. They haven't a leader and one who leads them, and it is he who exploits the body of the victim of choice, or entered inside her body, or made it a scapegoat for him, or confronted him, or a body that defiles him, claiming that he is the Holy Spirit. This victim does not have anything in her hand, so there is no word that he hears from her, whatever you talk or say, or either. It is something that resembles a person holding a camera only behind the head of this gang. I mean as if it were the story of the judge's donkey, which tells that there was a country in which an unjust judge and everyone is afraid of him, and he had a donkey, and this donkey was important when he wanders, because he means that the judge is here. The importance is not of this donkey. Rather, the judge just means a lot of people bring food to this donkey, but because the judge wants this, but when he was preventing them, they didn't do this. They notice that the victim is the same thing. She has no importance. But this filthy spy is the one who writes her name and visits our position, and he leads his gang through her or makes himself a guard for her. Her secretary and agent, too, even if he made something of her in which to register elements. For example, he registered the people who. 44. The victim knows them, for example, her family, friends, or others. Even this does not mean anything, because he is the one who will lead these people, and she is not at all. Every victim can suspect that you can try to give orders, for example, change the laws, cancel the unseen, and also ask to give an amount of 20 million dinars. Of course, it will not be implemented. Anyone who is something like this is a good test for the victim herself in order to make her awake from the illusion and know that she fell into a deadly trap and she is not at all walking with God but with a demon, and everyone who entered her brain through slides from mind control or a terrorist gang only to change my knowledge of this thing. Of course, I see it good because I tried this, and the result is that I started to reveal this gang without hesitation. I mean, I know that many of the victims of the choice, despite all the harm done to them, but they think that there is something they may benefit from inside this gang, or there is something good in it, or she has something in it, or she may be considered the justification of the gang. Something on the contrary. This is very correct, and one of the methods of warfare is not to play in the same way the enemy means. We do not play with them to play in order to work their way. For example, they are a terrorist enemy who has laws is why we work with us. For example, and this demon that made himself the Holy Spirit is a cursed terrorist who sticks himself so that he exploits the victim's body, making himself a secretary or an interpreter. Everything for him only grows. He steals, kills, and does all kinds of evil, and after that he wants to throw the responsibility on the victim's head. Also, she has to warn of the tricks of this and the lies and illusion that he does when he makes himself so that she loves him more. For example, turns off the electricity or makes electronic planes of some kind drone flying over the victim's head or making the person around it, for example, the family of the victim, and everyone who you know become. 66. Of course, there are instances by the gang leader inside Iraq in a way that does not lie until believing him everywhere, and he is completely a gangster in the full sense of the word. This is like an evil old man who climbs over someone's head and continues to exploit his body. I mean, what I see inside Iraq from the recklessness of this spy terrorist is if he wants to impose the error. I mean, he takes advantage of the victims' bodies to keep leading this terrorist gang inside Iraq, and at the same time he claims or makes himself the Holy Spirit and sticks himself inside the victim's body. Note that if the victim uncovers this game, he will stick to it. He is a terrorist thief who made himself Christ or the Holy Spirit in Iraq, and these are gangs of mind control. They are all an intelligence network from the days of the previous regime. Homosexuals, both of them, terrorism such as carrion, they cannot reach the United States or European countries at all. Of course, I heard this damn terrorist declaring and saying that he wants to topple America, Russia, England and other countries in Europe, and I say if only this devil in Iraq and with him the abnormal security agent they represent religion, then I say that I will never confess religion. I mean, if everyone had believed that this terrorist whose gang was hitting coalition forces in Iraq and inciting people against European countries, if everyone believed this, he would think that he is a prophet and he is with him and the abnormal security agent who say that God told them that they are against these countries. So I announce that I am canceling the recognition of religion, because this is not a religion at all. I mean, they strike France and Belgium. 77. And they say that God said this to them and nobody does anything for them because they fear the offense of that devil who made himself a prophet inside Iraq. Is this also reasonable that they made children fall on to represent them in this gang, and these traitors are the ones who became the bridge of terrorism to the United States of America and European countries 1,000 times? I said, cancel any recognition of this terrorist inside Iraq, and declare it must be chosen from the United States of America or the countries of Europe instead of this terrorist, and with him the homosexual security agent who claimed countless lives in those countries as well. They are tearing European society and the law. The existence of this gang in Iraq and this devil and his bisexuality guy. Our biggest mistake is a very fatal price paid dearly.